I can't decide if this Xbox update is awesome or terrible. What is up, y'all? I am Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. The latest news, rumors, games, accessories, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to talk about some new Xbox updates coming our way that aim to level up our gaming experience, as well as some super exciting news about Bethesda's worst kept secret. But first, a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN gives you a simple, easy, straightforward way to mask your IP address and give you that little extra bit of security when you're online. It also basically made me a hero the other night to my wife. Because the other night I was like, hey, listen, babe, let's watch a movie. Let's chill out. Let's order some pizza. And she was like, I really want to watch The Hunger Games. Let's start with the first one. The Hunger Games, not available on any streaming service. You have to rent it. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Let me check something. Turns out The Hunger Games is available to stream on the Australian version of Netflix. So I was like, don't worry, babe. Don't rent that movie just yet. Don't buy it digitally just yet. Let me do something. So I pull up ExpressVPN, change my IP address to Australia, log into my Netflix account, and boom, it is right there. I saved the day. I was a hero. I love when things work out. You can also game with a VPN too to make sure that no one doxes you after you talk trash to them. Overall, I'm a really big fan, and if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can go on over to expressvpn.com/xboxready or scan this QR code to find out how you can get 4 months free. Thanks again to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Now, every time I do one of these update videos, whether they're updates coming to console or the mobile app or the Xbox PC app, someone inevitably every time is like, psh, this isn't new. I've been able to do this since 2015. And there are some updates that bring these features that, well, you used to be able to do them at a certain point, but then they went away for a while and they're being brought back. But I promise you, dude, you have not been able to do the things detailed in this update unless you have been actively testing them as like an insider or something else, or maybe it's a similar feature to something you knew back in the day in the Xbox One generation. I don't know, but the things that I'm talking about right now are part of the April update, and they're either being tested or they're going to be rolled out to everyone else by the end of the month. Let's start off with the update that's coming to the Xbox mobile app on iOS and Android devices. They say that this is one of the most requested features from the Xbox community. The ability to buy games, join Game Pass, and redeem perks directly through the app. This means that if you're browsing the app and you see a game that you really want to pre-order, or you see that a game that you've been waiting to go on sale has finally done so, you can now buy it directly through the app. If you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you can pick up any perks that you think are cool through the app. And if you already have a saved form of payment through your Microsoft account, the app will display a little buy button on the details page. So you click that and you're good to go. This is one of those features, again, that you think was probably in the app at some point, or you probably have some memory of you buying a game through the app at one point. They had to take it away for reasons that we'll get to later in this video, but now they're bringing it back at the cost of something else. Moving on over to the console side, you'll now be able to stream games that you own directly from the cloud to your console. Obviously, Xbox Series and Xbox One consoles got the ability to use cloud gaming a while ago. This is just an extension of this thing that they started doing back in November, where instead of limiting your cloud gaming experience to the titles that were on Game Pass Ultimate, they started expanding it to where you can stream certain games that you own. Not all of them are supported, but a fairly good amount, some big names. It was a feature that I had been waiting on for a while now. I'm thinking, hey man, you were able to do that on Google Stadia. Why hasn't Xbox figured it out yet? I've said it probably 100 times before, but it makes the whole cloud gaming experience a little bit more legit. It makes me believe that one day cloud gaming could be sort of comparable to a console experience, rather than just an add-on to Game Pass Ultimate. There seems to be an ulterior motive to the stream your own games thing, because when they first rolled it out, I went on my browser and I was using cloud gaming. I filmed a video about it, and I was like, okay, it still serves me up like, hey, jump back into this game that you were playing on Game Pass Ultimate. But interspersed in those titles were games that I actually owned, games that did not have the little Game Pass symbol in the bottom right corner. Games like like Cyberpunk, The Witcher 3, a few others. I was like, oh shoot, yeah, I bought those games and now I'm able to stream them. Cool. But now if you go to the cloud gaming dashboard, there's like a big tile. I don't know if it's there anymore, but a couple weeks ago, there was like a big tile for Assassin's Creed Shadows with the symbol for Game Pass in the bottom right corner. It made me think for a split second, even though I knew this wasn't true, wait a minute, hold on, is Assassin's Creed Shadows part of the Game Pass Ultimate Library? And of course it's not, because then you click on it and it's like, oh no, in order to stream this game, you gotta buy it. It's not part of the Ultimate Library. You need a Game Pass subscription to stream it, but you also need to own it as well, and you can stream your own game. Seems to be another pitch that Xbox can throw at these studios and these publishers as another revenue stream. But going back to the experience on console, if you want to stream your games that you own on your Xbox, you can go to My Games and Apps, Full Library, Owned Games, and if you see a little cloud icon on the game page, those are the ones that you can stream. The list is growing. They're doing a good job doing the work to expand support for this stuff. It started out like, I feel like not even like 20-ish games, and now it's grown to over 100. While we're on the topic of game streaming, they're also making some pretty exciting changes to remote play, and also some not so great ones. When they're talking about it on the Xbox Wire, the thing that stuck out to me the most, the thing that excited me, was that they were rolling out remote play to more devices. There are times with cloud gaming that I have really great experiences, and there are others where it's just absolutely doo-doo. Consistency is usually an issue for me when it comes to streaming games from the cloud servers. Remote play for me has always been a much more stable, consistent experience, which makes sense because I'm on the same network, the data has to travel less distance. So when they were like, yeah, we're expanding remote play and giving you the option to use it on other devices like the Amazon Fire Stick, like the MetaQuest headset. Especially when it comes to the Amazon Fire Stick, being able to access my games through remote play versus cloud gaming instantly upgraded it. I like remote playing from my console, sue me. Usually when I'm using remote play, I do it on my iPad or on my phone, or I've done it a couple times on my ROG Ally as well. But remote playing to my downstairs TV through my Fire Stick, way better option. If I'm in my house, I want to use remote play. If I'm on the go and I'm away from my console, sure, I'm gonna use cloud gaming instead. But then I read it again, and there's one little catch. They are expanding remote play to other devices, but they're also taking it out of the Xbox app on mobile, which I'm not gonna lie, kind of pisses me off because I actually use that a lot on my phone. Especially since Xbox sent that special edition Backbone controller my way, I've actually been using it a lot. Plug in the controller to my phone, open up the Xbox app, click the little icon, remote play to this device. You're not gonna be able to do that anymore, apparently. Now you're gonna have to go to the mobile browser. You're open up and go to xbox.com/play like you would for a cloud gaming session, and that's where you're gonna be able to access remote play. Just when you think they're doing all of this work to unify the Xbox experience into one app, one destination, they go ahead and pull something like this. But I understand why they have to do it. They had to make the choice of, okay, do we want people to buy games through the app and make purchases, make us money, or do we want them to have the ability to play their games? Because I guess if you sell games through the app but also make them playable, they're subject to all sorts of fees from Apple and Google. They've been trying to figure out a way, as far as I know, to get around that in terms of like the court systems all around the world, but haven't had much success. So I guess this is what we have to deal with now. We get the ability to purchase games through the app, but we lose the ability to remote play. In the month of April, they're also introducing this thing that will help you free up space on your console. Of course, being able to stream games to your console saves an immense amount of space. You can play games without downloading them to try them out. But if you need a little bit more help, they're introducing an improved way to free up space on your console. Now your Xbox will display any add-ons that you haven't used, or maybe games that you downloaded on Game Pass that have since left the library and you don't have access to them anymore. And it'll also provide recommendations on certain things you can remove that are either duplicate copies or data that might be hiding out, lurking on your console. And last but not least, a select number of Xbox owners will now have game hubs on their dashboard. This is something that we talked about a couple of videos ago, but basically it is this thing that will pop up and display all sorts of information about the game. game, including your achievement, player stats, who else is playing this game, any available add-ons, any clips or screenshots that you've taken. It's essentially kind of what you would see on the PC Xbox app when you click on a game before you launch it. Of course, the big thing that everyone's focusing on when it comes to this Game Hub situation, on console specifically, is that you'll have to press an extra button in order to launch the game, because you're gonna press on the game art or the game tile, it'll pop up with this Game Hub, and then you'll have to click play again if you want to start playing. The way Tom Warren described it in his little write-up of it and the video example that he had is that the Game Hub will pop up pretty much wherever you launch the game, whether it's on the Xbox dashboard or in your My Games and Apps section. The only place where it didn't launch was, I'm pretty sure he said, the guide. So we'll see how that works out. Speaking of Tom Warren, he gave us another look at Xbox's new co-pilot that they're going to be rolling out. The thing that's supposed to be like your little video game assistant. The idea being that it can give you tips in real time to help you, I don't know, beat a boss or make it past a certain level or craft a certain item. And what's interesting about this article is that Tom mentions that Microsoft is working on the ability to have this AI chatbot basically see the game that you're playing, analyze it in real time. They call it a co-pilot vision feature. You know, outside of like, you know, AI is using up a bunch of resources, destroying the environment, ripping off artists everywhere. Besides all that, this seems like a mostly harmless feature, and it's going to be debuting in the Xbox app before it gets rolled out to consoles. So we'll see how it works out. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. I already use my phone to look up certain things like certain item locations. If I'm really stuck on something in a game, I'm gonna use Google anyway to help me figure it out. So having something like this in my Xbox app, you know, I could see myself trying it out, being open to using it. Next up, let's move on to one of my most anticipated releases of 2025. We got a ton of leaked images, or allegedly leaked images. The source has already been taken down, so I'm like, that makes it seem a little bit more real. If they were fake, why would Bethesda or whoever go through the effort of striking it down? But the images are already out there. They are circulating, and damn it, I am so excited. I cannot express how important Oblivion is to me. At the time, it was mind-blowing, man. Like when I was a teenager when it came out. I was 13 years old. It came out before I even had a 360 of my own. So I would go over to my buddy Matt's house. He was the one that was like, bro, you gotta come over and see this game. And he showed me the opening cinematic, and we stood there in his living room, gobsmacked. It was like the craziest thing that we've ever seen. Of course, you watch that trailer back now, and you're like, this looks not so great. This looks kind of crazy, but at the time, it was mind-blowing. I'd go to school and think about this game. I'd be out and about and I think about this game. I'd be playing other games and I would think about Oblivion. It is to this day the only Xbox game that I've 100%ed. I spent hours, days of time in this game. And that doesn't even represent the full amount of time I spent playing it, because I would play it again on my buddy Matt's console. We would take turns. So seeing these images, it just has me on a new level of hype. Now, I will be that guy. I did notice that there's not nearly as much vibrancy or color in these remaster images versus the original ones. That's an aspect that I will sort of miss. That original color scheme, the greenness that everyone is talking about, it played a huge part in making you feel like you were transported into this fantasy world, this fairy tale. And it made it all the more jarring when you went through these Oblivion gates into the realm of Mehrunes Dagon, which was devoid of color. It looked just like a crazy, bleak hellscape. On the other end, though, there's no debating. It looks fantastic compared to the original one, like the sewer gate that you do your initial prison escape out of. The still of the player fighting against this goblin on the bridge, it looks a lot like, it kind of made me second guess these leaks, because it looks a lot like the Elder Scrolls Online. I cannot wait to get my hands on this game. I don't know why they're keeping it a secret. They haven't acknowledged its existence yet. People have been posting on Twitter saying they've been DMing Xbox support and straight up getting a release date for this. It's supposed to come out on April 21st, which would line up with some other things that other quote-unquote insiders are saying about it. I don't know what the benefit is to Shadow shadow dropping this game or surprising us with this game, but I will say it is doing a great job of building my excitement for it. I'm curious to see how the gameplay has changed. We've been hearing some things about, oh, it's gonna be like they're gonna rework the archery system, the stealth system. There's gonna be a little bit of a combat overhaul. I'm hoping that works out. I hope they don't tamper with it too much. The leveling system, the progression, probably could use a little bit of a facelift. It was a lot less forgiving than what you would find in Skyrim. In Skyrim, it was very straightforward. You level up the skill on a scale of 1 to 100. As you progress, it unlocks different perks. Oblivion, it was a little bit more complicated, especially with the major and minor skill system. You also actually had to manage your stats and put skill points into your character attributes. And if you messed up your build early on, you didn't specialize, later in the game, with the way that the scaling worked, you were just absolutely screwed. There was no way that you were gonna beat certain enemies if you were under-leveled. And I will say, seeing it in Unreal Engine 5, that's how that's how it felt back when I was playing the original game. You look back on Oblivion now, and yeah, it looks a little goofy. The character designs are like, whoa, they're a little bit jarring. But at the time, I took that world dead ass serious. There was nothing goofy about it when I was dungeon diving in Cyrodiil. So it's nice to see that it's being elevated to have this more serious look. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.